Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin' Mommy, and it's Monday, April 28th, 2025. Wow. Here for my weekly cross-stitching update. Time just keeps flying, right? We're here almost at the end of April. So let's jump in. I've got things to share of what I did and some plans because we're gonna, head into a new month. So first off, we'll start with my Sunday stitch. I stitch on in the car to and from church. This is Books of the Bible by My Big Toe, and I'm doing it pretty much as called for with my own fabric, but it's close to what the picture looks like anyways. And I got to do some words. So yay! This is 25 count Lugana by Bee Stitch Me in Through the Stones. 1/1 full cross with the called for silks, and I got Genesis and most of Exodus. There's like 2 stitches that I just couldn't get out of the end of the thread. And I'm very frugal playing thread chicken. It was like, this is not happening. So I'll have to get those last 2 stitches in before I do Leviticus. And that makes me think I probably won't get all of this done next time because this looks like a little shorter, but we'll see. So I'll just keep chipping away at that. I like to do about 1 length of thread every week, and that works good. My regular travel piece is Cats and Hearts May. It's not done. So this is by Kitty and Me Designs. This is my second to last one of this series. And I really want it done before May, but I honestly don't think that's possible with the amount of time I have to give it. But this is 25 count white even weave, 1/1 full cross. Called for DMC except for the kitty cat, which is 535 to be a dark gray. And I don't think I did any more cat. I'm working on the green. I did the second to last blue, second to last yellow. I'm on the second to last green. So we have 3 more colors and more cat, plus a little bit of back stitching. So it's coming along, but it's still got some stuff left, and I don't have a lot of days of April left. So I would like to start the Stardust Charity Stitch Along on May 1st when the first part comes out. I have it all kitted up with Cloud Lugana 25 count and most of the called for DMCs, but I subbed out a little bit. My blue will be not as dark and my green will be darker. So I think these two maybe were the same. This is a color in here too, but the pinks and the greens were the same. Not green, light blue, teal. It looked simple, like a nice travel stitch. This is a charity stitch along, so the pattern is released in 2 parts starting May 1st, and it's free on their blog, but they encourage you to donate to Make-A-Wish, and you can find that on their blog, the link to that. So we'll see. I might end up finishing Cats and Hearts during my regular stitching time in order to start that as travel stitching on May 1st. And I'll explain in plans how I might make that happen. So then I've also been working, I think I only worked on this once, the Secret Garden Mystery Stitch Along by the Historical Sampler Company. And I just realized, I think part 3 came out today. I haven't seen it yet. It's probably in my email, but I'll put a picture up of the most recent release and I will be surprised when I go to find the picture. But so far I'm still working in part 1 and I'm doing my own fabric. This is Bee Stitch Me, no, this is Live and Die LA, 28 count, 1/1 full cross with the called for DMC, and it's a mystery green. And it's warmer than it always shows up. There's some cat hairs, of course. Specialty fibers. So here I did some flowers. The flowers are all done except for the leaves. Sorry. So after that, next time I work on this, likely on Tuesday, I'll probably finish the leaves and then maybe come up here. When I had this green on my needle, I was kind of expecting to do the stems of the flowers that are next above the birdhouse and then work my way up to the birds at the top so it can do more top-down stuff like I like to do, but this color I used up my whole string. So I'm like, well, there's that. I'm not going to do any more there. So I'll do the leaves and then I'll go up here and like start these flowers because I do want to get up. You know, I tend to like to work from the top down. Projects like this can be a little trickier to count than I'm used to, I guess, because a lot of the things I do, stuff's closer together. So things that have just like miscellaneous motifs scattered around is not my typical thing. So as much as I like to count crazy and all over the place, I tend to count closer most of the time. Even on my stitching shelf, which I'll show later today, I'm all over the place, but I never went very far each time I counted. It was always a reasonable length that I counted away to make sure I wasn't wrong. But at least I'm over one, so it shouldn't be too bad on this one. I got some hairs on me. So I think that's all of my miscellaneous stuff except for temperature stitching. So for my temperature daily 30, I am still chipping away at the things I have in my pattern keeper that have the least amount of stitches remaining. And I have the five projects with the least amount of stitches remaining. Two digits of the temperatures per project. And I didn't get to everything on the list this time. I think I'm, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I did 4 of the 5. So only 1. I didn't get to Cupcake Dreams, which I don't think came out last week either. But I am eager to shake this up, and which will be happening, I believe, next week. Yeah, the end of next week, my temperature stitching will be switching over to cycling stitching. And I've explained that in the past, but I'll kind of go over it again later. But it's fun to get these pieces closer to a finish, but the finish is so close on some of them, I just want them done. You know, I want to get all the way there. So I was able to work on Simpsons 3 times. It was called with the digit 9 or 8 or 9. And it was like 79, 78, and 69 were the different temperatures. And so this is a miscellaneous pattern I got on eBay years ago, and I'm doing this for my husband. It's still a surprise, as far as I know. And because the first 2 times I worked on colors that you can see, I went ahead and figured, well, it's called a 3rd time. Pardon me if you can hear the garbage truck. It's kind of noisy out front. I went ahead and took the opportunity to stitch a length of white because that's one that you can't see very well, but it needs to get done. So I thought, well, you can see some colors and know that I did some white. So here is this one. 40 count for doll, 1/1, half cross. And I finished the green in Marge's dress, did some yellow, a length of yellow in Bart, and I also did a length of white in Homer's shirt, which stops right here. You can kind of see that edge right there. So overall, I did 455 half stitches this week, which is really fun. So that is now a 74.01%. So making great progress on that one. That one I would like to be done by his 50th birthday, which is in a little over 2 years. So I should for sure be able to do that. If for some reason I get it done before another birthday, I can always give it to him early, but there's no pressure to finish it super early. Then one of the days I couldn't work on it, but then I ended up making it up the next day. So it all worked out. I got all the attention it needed. Little Owl Patchwork came out twice. This is by the Historical Sampler Company. And this is getting close too. This is the 2 different times it came out. I got a total of 240 cross stitches. This is Bee Stitch Me 25 count Frost. And it's 1/1 full cross called for DMC. And so I got the house completely finished. All the little flowers in the window boxes are done. I got this border completely finished around the middle, which is so exciting. I got one color in on this tree. I finished, I think that triangle maybe wasn't done yet. And so I'm excited to just kind of focus in on these bottom boxes now, as well as the bottom border, you know, but this is now at 70.11%. It's coming along. And I think a lot of these, probably not Simpsons, but a lot of these will probably get finished this summer during these cycling races, which is kind of fun. So I'll go over that in a minute, what I'm gonna do with that. But I also pulled out Robin Christmas Patchwork, which is also by the Historical Sampler Company. And one day on this, I am editing it a little bit. Here's my version. I took out some blocks and kind of shrunk it up a little bit. So it'd be a little shorter, a little quicker to finish. And I really like, because some of the blocks I was like, I don't really like that block anyways, so why not just take it out? So here's this one. This got one day. This is on the 32 count linen 2/2 full cross. All the kit ingredients. I got 120 full crosses, and it's now at 79.53%. And I worked here in the sheepy. Isn't he cute? And a few sticks. I think that stick, maybe that's all I did. But yeah, I finished his face and his swirls. So the sheep is all done. I did one color in the tree. So there's one more color of green in here. Then this block will be done. So it's coming along. This is the bottom. The border will go along here. This ruffle border. So yeah, super fun. This one will be the first up to be finished starting next weekend. And then I also got out Meadow for one day. This came out on Sunday. This is by Carolyn Manning, part of her bouquet collection. She's got all sorts of fun things, and they're all something for everybody, really. This one got 111 full crosses. This is 25 count moss Lugana. 1/1 full cross, and it's now at 51.50%. So I'm over the halfway mark, which is super exciting. This triangle is 100% finished now. This one still has, I think, one more color to fill in here in the bottom. And then there's some stitching here in the middle, and then the top half of this will be mostly done. I guess not. There's a little bit more in here too. But there's a few holes still. I'm picking symbols from the top down. So the next symbol I'm picking is in here. But yeah, there's a lot of other stuff just because I was filling in, finishing colors. Almost, this orange is almost finished. I think there's another in this corner. This is like 2 stitches from the border, the bottom border. So that's how big it will be. So yay! And did I say, yeah, 51%. So past the halfway point on that one, which is fun. Okay, so this week I will continue with temperature stitching. It'll be the same as it has been, same 5 projects, continue on. Starting next weekend, I'm gonna do the first of 3 major cycling races that are happening. The Giro d'Italia, they have just online, if you Google it, find it on Wikipedia or on the website of the race, how many kilometers they're biking each day. And so I'm stitching that many stitches on one particular project throughout the cycling race. And I'm gonna choose whatever has the least amount of stitches in Pattern Keeper until it's done. And then I'll switch to the next one until that one's done and so forth. So there's one here in May and one in July, which is the Tour de France, and one in August, which is the La Vuelta in Spain. So I'll do all 3 of those. And I heard about another one. Oh, there's a Polish one that's only like 2 weeks long, and it doesn't overlap. And I can't remember now where it is. I think it's the beginning of August. I may do that one too. We'll kind of wait and see. I'll play it by ear. How I'm liking it. If it's too much for me, because these amounts of stitches are slightly more than I would normally get for my daily 30 stitching. So if it ends up being too much, I might just scrap the whole thing. But I'm really excited to try to finish these projects and kind of freshen up my temperature stitching once they're off the plate, because then I'll move down the list of new things that you probably saw, if you remember, from the beginning of the year when I had 10 projects. So it'll probably pull in some of those ones that we've been missing the last few months. So that'll be fun to get back to those. Okay, so regular projects. I finished out Springo this week, which is I was doing with the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge group. Last week I showed you I had gotten my first Springo, and that ended up being my only Springo. So this is my finished board. I did this one, I forgot to mark it off, but yes, I did all of them that were called. Nothing got completely ignored, which was great. I even got 2 more Blackwork Flower, my N and my O columns. One of each of those got called this past week, which is perfect. So now I had 4 in each column, which is my goal for Whipgo. These were both Whipgo calls, and so I don't have to make those up. So I'm so excited. This one's S for Spring Montage only got 3, and ideally I would have had 4 Sundays here in April. So I'm going to do 1 more of those this week. That's really the only thing I need to make up. Everything else, Bear Time Stories got 3. I only needed 2. Ranunculus got 3. I only needed 2. Isabella's Garden really only needed 1, and I got 4. And Lollipop got 4, and I only needed 2. So things got a good amount of progress, and that was really fun. I didn't bring up Lollipop. I must not have worked on that this week. Yeah, okay. For some reason I was thinking maybe I just worked on it right before this, because it feels like I recently worked on that. But anyways, I worked on Blackwork Flower 3 times. It was called this week, which was super good because that meant I could finish Whipgo. I'll show you that real quick, actually. My Whipgo board. Maybe I'll show this after. I don't know. It's coming now. So here's my Whipgo board. And so I got that one. No Whipgos yet. They called May, but I'll discuss that later. So this is Blackwork Flower with butterflies. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. This is by Leslie Tier. And this was one I had identified probably a couple years ago as something that I could finish. Wouldn't take that long to finish. So it was kind of on my short list to focus on, but I never got to it the last couple years because other things were more pressing. So finally I think, okay, this one went on my focus for a finish Whipgo board this year, and it ended up getting called both calls in April. So I was successful at getting 8 days on this. And I'm very happy with how far I got. It's not done, but it's much farther than it was the last 2 years when I didn't work on it at all. So, and it should get another 8 days before the end of the year on Whipgo, which hopefully we'll see it to a finish. So here is where it is now. This is a 28 count even weave from Artiste, a light blue. And I'm doing the cross stitches 2/2 full cross, and then the back stitching is mostly 1 strand. Some of it is 3, some of it is, I don't know if any of it's 2, but the outline is 3. So I don't remember exactly. Let's see, stem and leaf. I did the stem, and this leaf, this might have been filled in, maybe not before. I pulled some of this down, filled in the cross stitches here, started filling in over here with some black work, filled in a little bit more of this black work. So this is the bottom, like right here, maybe like here. There's another metallic swirl down here, so maybe it goes down a little farther. But yeah, so exciting. Still have some thread on my needle I just caught. But that's fun. So I'm really happy with that. I adjusted the colors to be Victorian motto, similar to what's called for DMC. And I'm using Petite Treasure braid instead of whatever metallic was called for. And then 310, DMC 310. So I am very happy with this, especially now that I taped all my pattern pages together, because they didn't have an overlap. It didn't go in Pattern Keeper. So I ended up just cutting and taping, literally, all my pieces, and it's so much easier to work on now. The pattern is very large. It's in color. It's very, very easy to read, but those page breaks were causing trouble. Make your brain do some mental gymnastics to make sure it was lined up. So now that they're literally all visually there, it's very nice. So I will be happy when that comes out again, but it won't be in May. So that's the last you'll see it for about a month at least, until it gets called again on my Whipgo board. So that's good. And then Isabella's Garden got called one more time. This is by Lavender and Lace. This was a new start here in April that I started with Dina Half Stitch Cross Stitch and Lori from Once Upon a Stitch. They were planning to start it. I said, I have that in my closet. Can I start with you guys? So we put it on our letter I for Springo, and this was the 4th time, I think. Yeah. I think it was the fourth time that it got called. So this is, I think it's Willow Green, 32 count linen. And last time I did the white in the bubble just to make sure it would stand out on my fabric, and I'm pretty happy with that. And so this time I did some pinks, which finished out the highlight on the bubble. And then, so this bubble is all done now. There won't be any backstitching, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's just exposed, which is why I wanted to make sure it stood out. And then I did a few more, the same pinks in the ribbons and stuff. So there's more, I filled in her hair, this light color that wasn't quite done yet. So there's still a few more colors of hair. There's maybe one more color of pink. There's some greens in the flower. Her face, obviously, there's so much more to do, obviously, but I'm happy with that. It's a good start. You can kind of see what's happening. So yay, that was fun. Thank you, ladies, for letting me crash your start party. And now I have another cute project on the go. Then my last Springo call was Bear Time Stories, which is for my middle son. This is by Randall Spangler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's a mini, and I've been stitching this Extreme Cross Country. Currently, I'm on the color with the most amount of stitches remaining, and it's not done yet. I think I have still over 1,000 stitches of that color, but I did some. This is 40 count Verdal 1/1 half cross, and I did 348 stitches on Friday, and this is now at 32.01%. I believe I worked in this foot and some maybe in the book. So my numbers on this got me thinking, and now I'm nervous because I did some math for this one and Lollipop. So originally I'd like to get these done by my kids' high school graduation. I finished Visit Endor before my oldest son's high school graduation, which is this in like a month. So I need to get that framed. But so these other two, I'm like, oh, well, if I do this many stitches per month, I'll get there. It won't be a problem. I haven't been making that every time. It's been less than that significantly, probably because the days I'm giving my gift stitches are Mondays and Tuesdays, which can be low stitchy days just because life is busy on those days. So I was doing the math, and I would need to do, I think, $1,400 a month on Bear Time Stories to get it done by that son's graduation, and then like $1,600 a month on Lollipop to get that done by her graduation. I can't do that. So I'm gonna have to like adjust things, and maybe when it gets closer, I could use those projects for like the cycling races. Right now, I'm super excited to do the cycling races with things I can finish and just get stuff off my plate, but I might have to buckle down a little bit more on those ones to get some more stitches in to make sure they get done in time, because I think that's still a nice goal to have. I have 3 years for one and 6 years for the other, so we'll see. So, and then the last thing, so that was the end of Springo, and oh, I also got to work on Heirloom Stitching Sampler a little bit, because my friend Colette, the highway stitcher, was pulling hers out, and we started this together a few years back. This is Victoria Sampler, and I am up here in the top. I had this top chunk done, so I was starting in on the scene, and it wasn't really a focus piece, but since she was pulling it out, I'm like, I'll give it a little bit of attention, because sometimes that's all we can do is just give it a little bit. Depending on what life looks like on World Cross Stitch Day, which I don't know exactly what day that is. It's in August. Maybe, I think it's usually a Friday? I don't know. Might be the 8th or the 15th. Don't quote me on that. Go Google it. But I might try to pull it out that day for a few more stitches too. We'll see. But I did a little bit and I'm pretty happy with that. So this is a mystery purple, 32 count linen, I believe, or even weave, 32 count even weave, that I thought, well, it's long and skinny, and this piece is long and skinny, so it was perfect. It's probably not as narrow as this piece could use a more narrow piece of fabric, but this piece being long and skinny was like, oh, I gotta do it. So I did the 3 trees in that scene. There's the same color for the trunks and then different colors for the leaves, and these 2 lazy daisies, and this was like straight stitches. So that's fun. So I got some bones going for that first scene. So the next logical things to work on are all the people. There's a lot of people in that scene. But yay, that's fun. That's a really bright, fun purple. It's a little, again, a little warmer than you're seeing, but that's fun to work on. And then I worked on He Is Risen, because this is one I wanted to pull out for Easter. And then when Springo came up, I'm like, oh, well, I really want to do that. So this one got bumped to my first available days post Springo. So this is He Is Risen by Donna Gelsinger, chartered by Heaven and Earth Designs. I would not have minded a mini of this one, but I was gifted this full-size one. I'm like, well, let's just go for it. And what I decided to do to kind of make up for it being large is I am stitching the background sky in half stitches, and everything else will be full cross. So I think that'll help it go a little faster, which so far worked really well, because in the sky, as you might imagine, there's large swaths of solid color. So it goes really fast, especially with a half stitch. So I got a lot of stitches on this, and I even got to the cross. I'm so excited. So I got total 1,189 stitches. This is 28 count even weave, I think was from Hobby Lobby. And I'm so excited. So it's now at 1% too, exactly, 1% exactly, which is fun. So I did a lot of this, which is 2 different blues, and then there was a blue that kind of came down here and then stopped and ended up being over here too. So I finished my thread over here. And I did this blue, which ended up being down here farther, but then I went all the way down to at least be the end of the 10 by 10 row, hopped over to this chunk and hopped over to this chunk because I saw the cross was coming. So this is one small length of thread in full cross DMC 310 to be the top of the cross there. So super, super fun to have like the start of something, you know? So next time this comes out, maybe next Easter, I don't even know, I'll fill this in. I'll keep being a good girl. But it's possible that as I go, I might do, you know, one more length of thread in the cross just for fun, even though I think the 10 by 10 row ends there. You can't really see cross in that row, but you know, you got to add some fun bits when you can, right? So that was exciting. I did that Saturday and Sunday. And even though it's solid, it's not boring because there is still some counting involved. So that's always nice. I think that's everything I worked on. So plans. Oh, I forgot to bring Beachcomber. Okay. Wah wah. I will be working on Beachcomber for 2 days probably here for my gift stitch days here in April for my last gift stitch that wasn't on the Springo board. So this is by Lindy Stitches. I'll maybe put some pictures up, and I'm doing this for my mom, so I'll be working in that big whale. That's what I've got going on now, and see how far I can get on that. And then Tuesday I will put in my last seasonal Sunday day on spring montage so that that one can get, where is it? There it is. By Pain Free Crafts. So this one can get its full 4 days, like would have happened if I had put it on all the Sundays. So I'm up here in the cherry blossom branch. Not super exciting. I'll probably just do some more background or something. Try to get some stitches. No, it's not that one. Here's my starting point. This is 28 count mushroom Lugana 1/1 full cross. And there are some stitches kind of across the top here that are very light. They look just like the fabric. Let's see. There might still be more stitches to pick in here before I keep going this way. So we'll just wait and see what I get to. I'm doing typewriter symbol picking across the top 10 by 10 row, like I like to do. So that's that one. And then we'll head into May. So May has a few extra days here at the beginning of the month, which don't really fit into my typical rotation, where I have Mondays and Tuesdays are a gift stitch, Wednesdays and Thursdays are a Whipgo stitch, and then Friday and Saturday are kind of just fun miscellaneous stitches, and then seasonal Sunday is another thing. So the first 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, are kind of bonus days. So I thought that would be a good time to pull out my Heirloom Nativity Sampler. Although I think the more I've been thinking about it just last night, essentially, well, this week really, but I'm going to pivot, and I'm not going to do the Hardinger. I don't want to. It's not that I'm scared of it, because I've done buttonholes many times in sewing, but I just don't want to. It doesn't sound fun to me. I was talking to my sister a few weeks back, and I think part of my hesitation is that it seems like some of these wrapping stitches are, you just wrap until it's full kind of concept. It's not structured, which I like structure. So it's like, okay, I gotta just kind of figure it out, which is kind of why I don't tend to like embroidery either. I've done a little bit of it. I'm like, I like the structure of counted cross stitch, counted canvas, specialty stitches where I know which hole goes where, like it makes sense. It's structured, I like that. So it doesn't sound complicated, I don't want to learn it. That's kind of all there is to it. I'm like, I just don't want to, so I'm not going to. So sorry for all of you who wanted me to do it, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to try to kind of play with a few specialty stitches to kind of give it a similar look. It won't be the same. Like there won't be dark bits in the background peeking through, but I'm okay with that. But I'm going to try to pick, I already have these like metallic eyelets in there, you know, so for these filling stitches, I'm going to try to do various things to try to make it something interesting, like rice stitches or like corner Jessicas or something. So here is this all together. It's all done except for that bit at the bottom. And so here's where I am now. This is 32 count silver linen by MCG Textiles. And I've got all the cluster blocks done and those eyelets in there. So I'm just gonna go through and kind of fill these bits in with stuff. And I have the charms that go here. I got them on Stony Creek's website. And so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm happy with that. That makes me happy to be like, okay, I could just be done with this then. So I don't think it's gonna take me as long as it would have if I were trying to like learn Hardinger. So I'm gonna, the other thing that gives me pause with this is it's a very uneven linen because it's MCG Textiles. And I'm like, is that even gonna be the right, I don't know. I'm sure it would work, but it might look funny and be even harder to gauge how many times you wrap it or how thick you need to have something be. I just didn't wanna, I don't wanna deal with that. So I'm giving it the 3 days here at the beginning of May. But if I'm just doing specialty stitches, it shouldn't take that long. So I'm gonna use the rest of that time to finish Cats and Hearts May. So that one will be done, and I can switch over my travel stitch at that point to Stardust stitch along. So that's my plan for that, which I'm excited about. And then this Sunday is my new seasonal Sunday project. I'm switching projects every month to be a different seasonal piece so that I have more than 3 of each, set. I have more sets of projects than 3, but I'm choosing 3 right now. So I have my seasonal montages and my seasonal crosses. And then I also have my stitching shelf. I have my Celtic Ladies, seasonal ladies, which may come out again here on my temperature stitching before too long. But for now, they have been in hibernation because I'm pulling out stitching shelf to do 4 days on every season for the season it's in. So we saw this earlier in the year and I did 4 days down here. So now I'm gonna do 4 days in the spring branch, or shelf, sorry, not branch. So this one has the most solid stitching in this corner. So I may just keep working around the door area, but we'll see. I might hop around, you know. You know me, especially on this piece, I might hop around. So we'll see. I have no idea what I'll be doing this first week, but you will be the first to know. So here's all of this. Hopefully you can see that all. This is 28 count tea-dyed Monaco by Charles Craft. This is the spring shelf. And it's 2 over 1 half stitch. So I have a little bit of all the shelves finished, which is what I was saying about, I have stitching everywhere, but you'll see like there's very short gaps in between my stitching. I'm stitching the shelves across, I stitch down the books, so that there's not really any huge jumps. Everything was gotten to by a conservative amount of cross stitching, if that makes sense. Of counting, a conservative amount of counting. So I'll be in the spring shelf here for the month of May, and that'll be fun. So we'll see what I get to. There's little bits all along the top, so I could end up anywhere. Could work on the door, I could work on just filling in some more of those books that have been already started, so we'll wait and see what I'm in the mood for. It might depend on my stitching time, because sometimes if I don't have a lot, I want to just kind of bust out something with a lot of one color, where there's a lot of stitches in the color. So some of those the books are nice, because then I can get a whole lot of stitches done in a short amount of time. So this is an example of a wrapping paper tube, post-it note taped to the bottom. People sometimes ask what I keep my stuff in, and it's nothing glamorous. I guess I will also verbally say what my next Whipgo calls will be. I did not bring them to show you because I won't start working on them until next week. One of them will come out next week. So my new Whipgo calls were 5 and 19. So 19 is Azure Ornament. If you remember, that one is like a spiral graph kind of thing. No cross stitches in it at all. That one, I'm guessing I won't need all 4 squares, but this is the first time it's been called, so we'll see how much I can get done on 4 days of that one. And then the other one was actually Robin Christmas Patchwork Sampler by the Historical Sampler Company, which is in my Temperature Daily 30, and it's also probably going to be the one that will get work on in the cycling challenge starting on May 9th to get finished soon. So I actually did the math. I was like, if I do... In my plan, I have these are Whipgos. So I had like Robin Christmas, and then I was like, wait a minute. If I put Robin Christmas down here and I'll count up how many stitches per day before I get to this date, will I finish it before then? And yes, I will. Even if it never came up any more times on temperature stitching, which it already has once since I did my calculations, I would finish it like here, I think. Or no, there's my story. I'd finish it like here somewhere. it has less stitches remaining in it than the first half of the cycling challenge. So I'm like, okay, I'll put Azure Ornament first, and then I'll pick something new for my Whipgo board for these last ones, because that's what I've been doing. And I've already subbed out a couple other things too. So I have a list of projects, and these are some maybe projects to pick from as I finish things. So for example, Honeybee got called once, and I finished it the first time it got called. So these three numbers that were assigned to Honeybee, I reassigned to Rosetto, and it has not been called again, but these three now are down here. And same with, what's this one? Enchanted Alphabet was the Shine Bright sampler, which got finished in 2 calls. So these 2 that were remaining had yet to be called moved down to Enchanted Alphabet. So I did the next one. I decided to go with My Story for Robin Christmas Patchwork, which had 2 calls previously. And this 3rd call, which is now down here, I'm like, I'm going to finish it before I even get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it now. So I'm going to start working on My Story by Jeanette Douglas for that one. And I don't know if I can finish it in 8 days, 4 days on this call, 4 days the next call, but I'll give it just some attention and that'll be fine. So all these ones that I'm subbing in are not as likely to be finished in the time they have left, but they are, you know, runner-up candidates to get focus time. So that's what that one's for. So I'm excited about that. And I realized, I thought, oh, I'm only 1 away from a bingo, but really 13 has not yet been called. I just already marked it out. So I'm 1 away from this bingo, but technically I'm 2 away because 13 hasn't been called yet, even though it's a free space. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, so this week, no Whipgo pieces yet, but that's kind of the plan for Whipgo in the month of May. So I also have, I haven't picked any more, but I have a variety of miscellaneous projects here on my Fridays and Saturdays that are just things that haven't come up yet. I want to try to give everything at least 1 day of attention this year. Trying to finish projects is hard when you have practically 100 projects to give attention to. So it's really hard to balance between finishing things and touching everything. But I really want to touch everything this year, ideally. So I went ahead, there were some things I'm like, oh, I want to give this a full 2 days because I love giving things a little bit more than a day, but there's a lot of things that I haven't touched yet in the first quarter on my start list. I have them arranged by start date now, and there's things in the first quarter that hadn't been touched yet. And so I'm like, well, I'm just going to do single day rotations, and I'll probably get to pick 2 more things for this rotation because I'll go ahead and finish Heirloom Nativity up here, I think. Just worst case though, if I do some specialty stitches in the Hardinger section and I don't like how it looks, I might just go ahead and do the Hardinger. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of hoping that I can get away with just specialty stitches because that sounds way more fun to me. Okay, I think that's all I can jabber about today. So hopefully you have a wonderful week. Enjoy the end of your April and happy stitching. Bye. Okay, I was already packing up and I realized I forgot to show you the things that I got this week. So I got my set of things from the Fat Quarter shop that are some of the new things in their shop. So I thought I'd show you those. This is set X, which is a Going West, Log Cabin, Prairie Roses, and Prairie Bonnet. That's a cute one. The Stitch Cards set, and there's some quilting things. This is Fetch. Looks like bones for a dog, which is kind of fun. Not Today. Play on words. That's cute. And this is the Violets, which is the 3rd Stitchy Seed packet thing. I like this. It's really cute. So I'll definitely keep doing these. There might be some that I don't care for, but so far I think they're all cute. And then another quilt one, the Bramble Blossom. That's pretty. Nice pink colors. And then a Feeling Sheepish. This is one of those by Kim Deal, Pennyberry Farm series, where they stitch it on a project bag. So that's kind of fun. So those are those ones. And then I actually ordered some stuff from them. They gave me some money to spend because I'm going to be doing the Stardust charity stitch along, but I'll be participating in that. And so I was able to order a few fun things. I have fabric for the stitch along from a previous Fat Quarter Shop supplies. So I'll be using 25 count Cloud. It'll look very similar to what's called for, but I might alter the colors just a little bit. We'll have to see. I'll lay them out and see if I like all of them the way they are, if I'll pick different DMCs. But I'll probably just do DMC. So I picked out Nativity Tiny Town, which was fun. This is like the one from Market this year that I thought, oh, that's really sweet. I might actually have to do that one by Heart and Hand. So I might have to do that. And then I got some fabric. I got Vintage Country Mocha in 40 count, which I actually have my Quaker USA flag on this now, and I really like it. So I'm like, oh, I could use some more of that. Vintage Country Mocha in 25 count. This is the possibility to do over one, and then pewter 25 count. So that'd be fun to just have these in my stash for rainy days. And because I'm really loving the 25 count for doing over one, and then I also am enjoying 40 count 1/2 as well. But possibly even full coverage. Any of these really could be on full coverages. These could be over one. These could be also over one. So that's what I picked up. So enjoy what you're working on and have a wonderful day.